to a behind the scenes of Faith, Family, and Friends. I'm obviously Matthew Hagee and have the opportunity to sit down with Ben Isaacs, who was a producer on the record, and Marty Raybon, who's a featured vocalist on this particular record. But gentlemen, first and foremost, thank you for choosing to sit down and chat a little bit about this music and for helping me make that music, because we've talked about doing something together for a long time, but this is the first time that we actually crossed that finish line and got it done.
Yeah. Yeah, we sure did. I mean, we've talked about it for a long time, but everything has its purpose, and that's the provision of God. That's that it works when He wants it to work, not until and not before.
Well, I can say this for the work that you did on the album, it was magic. And I think that was Ben's exact phrase. I said, how'd Marty do? He said, it's just magic.
Wow.
I appreciate you lending your talents, and you have always been a hero of mine in the music space and so many other areas. But it's a real honor for me to be able to sing with Marty Raybon.
Well, I tell you what, though, Matty, I admire you for a whole lot more different reason. Look, you're a talented fella, but man, what I really appreciate more about you is you're a man of God, and that literally means more to me than anything. Which you come from good stock, and as they say, the apple don't fall far from the tree. But brother, it's really nice to be involved. And Ben can tell you this: it's nice to be involved in a project, gospel project, that where everybody's heart's at, and literally what it's about. What the song and the lyric. And what the lyrics say is songs that's meant. It's not just something that somebody's saying just so that somebody can say that I'm in the gospel music business, And it wasn't something we tried. It's something we're trying to live. Yeah, absolutely. And that's, brother, that literally goes beyond speech. And people hear that. I'm telling you, God's anointing allows that to happen. People are able to reach it. It's for them to grasp, those that grasp it. God's Spirit reaches out and it lets them know that's real. That's
Amen.
Real stuff.
Ben, it was your first time to work with my family in this capacity, because we've done concerts together. Ben is a fourth or a fifth. A fourth. You're a fraction of the Isaacs, put it that way. But a big part of your family music. But first time for you to be in the studio helping my family. And it's the first time for my kids, Hannah and JW especially, to get in this environment. And, I enjoyed it as a dad. But from a production side, what were they like to work with? No pressure. We're on camera.
No pressure. Well, I felt really sorry for you. That's the reason. No, I'm just kidding. Amazing. I love, they come in nervous.
Yeah.
And wanting their first take to be the all in, and, you can hear nerves and just getting them to calm down and let them really showcase their talents and what they really can do was why I feel like my job is, and being able to just have relationships with them. It's, to me, music is not just about what you play and what you sing. Music is about your relationships with each other. That's where they start trusting you. And to be able to hang with them and watch you with your kids and being very, very proud to be a part of that. It was an honor for me to do that, to be called to be in that role. I've worked with family my whole life.
Yeah.
And so much of it is about, again, like I said, about relationships, but understanding. I'm pretty quick study when it comes to communication. You have to learn to communicate with people, because everybody communicates a little bit different, and you have to get on their language to be able to talk.
Well, and even with my children, some of them take encouragement in a soft way, and others of them take encouragement when you put your finger in their chest and say, you can do this.
Yeah, right.
For me, I had to find somebody that I trusted to work with my kids, because it's important to me that they would be able to utilize their talent and do it in a God-honoring way. And as you mentioned, the environment of the studio, it's something that until you've really been in it, you don't know how much tension and work is really involved. I mean, they'd come in here and people say, well, y'all just been singing all day and you're exhausted because mentally you're
Right.
doing everything you can to execute and sing well. But knowing what I know about my children, if they didn't enjoy the process, they'd be a one and done.
Right.
And it's been a real delight for me to be able to hear them talk about, the next record and the next recording, and and even having Uncle Marty come back and sing another one. They decided that they want to do a greatest hits already.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah.
Hey,
I didn't even know we had a
I'm
hit.
in.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Speaking of music and the things that you guys have been a part of, Marty, when did you start singing?
I started singing when I was a little old bitty boy. I don't even know how old I was, but the first time that I ever did anything publicly, I was in a third grade talent show.
Did you win?
No, it was more actually a variety show than it was anything. But I'd sang the Battle of New Orleans, the old Johnny Horton classic, and I'll never forget that as long as the day I live. And literally one of the reasons why. Now, of course, I wasn't saved or anything like that. And of course, my family tried to, teach us to do right and stuff. But I wasn't saved. But there was something that happened that night when I was singing. I mean, I literally felt that this is what I was going to do for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. And look, my daddy was a block and bricklayer. All we ever knew was, a block and brick pile. That's how he made his living, and that's where we would work. Even later on in life, 14, 15 years old, I'd go out and I'd work in the summer so I could raise money for my school clothes. That's how I'd buy money for my school clothes in the summer. What was to work for him, but in fact, I told my mama on the way home that night. I said, Mama, I'm supposed to. I think I'm supposed to sing for people the rest of my life. And of course, my mother's way of taking that is she said, well, son, you sure did look nice. Because she had bought me a little white shirt and a bow tie that clipped on, and that thing was literally cutting the oxygen off at my neck. I tell you, I was in desperate need of a good breath, and I didn't know what I was going to be able to get through. But one of the ladies that was organizing or coordinating the talent there that night, getting everybody to get out of their seat and coming to the stage, and putting them on when they were in the lineup and stuff like that. When I got up to leave, Mama looked at me and said, "Son, you take that tie off."
She paid good money for it.
Yeah. So I told her I won't take the tie off.
Well, from the Battle of New Orleans to Beulah Land, maybe we call that the greatest hits record.
That's it.
It's got some panache to it.
Yeah, we'll even put the Hup 2, 3, 4s in that.
I know a few kids that can count. Ben, you probably didn't get to start in the third grade at a talent show. How'd music come to you?
It was a gift. My mom and dad both had professional secular music careers. My mom had an album, a folk rock album in the late 60s on Columbia Records, and my dad had a bluegrass record on Decca Records in the same time. They met playing in Greenwich Village, New York at a place called Gertie's Folk City. It was a music bar. My mom was doing a set, and my dad would do a set. And then they got married, had an uncle get killed in a car wreck, which my dad is the baby of 17 children.
Wow.
Big family.
Good, man.
Pentecostal family. But
prolific family.
Exactly. Yeah. Very. But my grandparents were they prayed 3 times a day, and I don't mean at dinner. They got down on their knees and prayed. So that's the environment my dad was raised in. My mom had never stepped foot into a church in her life. Well, when my dad's brother got killed, they had a memorial service in a church, and my mom and dad both went. My mom had never been inside of a church, but she got saved that night, and they dedicated their life to singing music before we was even born. So I was raised, my earliest, I have pictures of, and I don't remember it, but Mom and Dad said that I was singing harmony when I was 2 and 3 years old. They'd get me up and stand me in a chair beside them to sing harmony with them.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was great.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's family. When you work with family, that's the thing about music, and that's so cool about this record. When you're working with family, it is you don't have to start out on a professional level, because it's more accepted as passing on a tradition in music, where you can look back at early Isaacs records and go, boy, I hear how they've matured vocally, even in the way we sing.
The raw ingredients.
Ingredients. And I think that's one thing that for me as a family, it may not have been great when I was 2 and 3 years old, but I was learning that process and learning how to sing with people. So I've done it my whole entire life. I've traveled and still do. So
yeah, and kind of the same environment for me. My family, whenever they would get together at anything, I mean, it didn't matter if it was Christmas, if it was somebody's birthday, funerals. I mean, for whatever reason they gathered, sooner or later, a concert would break out.
Right.
Somebody go sit at the piano, somebody pick up a guitar, and then we just kind of have this organic sing-along where, next thing you know, your grandmother's looking at you saying, come here, I want to teach you how to sing this, or, your uncle have you stand next to him and say, sing what I'm singing, and you learn different parts and, who was supposed to do what, where, and how. And then the progression of that was, Dad looking at you and saying, all right, we're going to do that tomorrow at church, because, we need an offertory, or, I've always thought that it was interesting that at church, they called it the special, but a lot of them weren't that special, really. I mean, well, guys, I want to just say, again, thank you so much for your contributions to this record. My hope is that the things that we felt whenever we were putting the music together is what those who are hearing it will feel whenever they get an opportunity to hear it themselves. And, wherever their friends are, wherever their family is, that when they listen to this, it'll build their faith.
Absolutely. And I want to say it is an honor. It's an honor to be involved. We are brothers on so many different levels because of the way we were brought up, almost in family ministry. In lifing together, you and I have always had a special connection because we've had to put up with our sisters. And
that's another interview.
Okay, we'll go there. That's more of a therapist
when Dr.
interview.
Phil is sitting in this chair, we'll sit down and talk about that.
But seriously, it's for me to come down here and to be a part of this and to help you create this special time with your kids, I'm honored. I really am, and I love you guys, and I respect you guys so much. Well, thank you for having me. And Marty, this album is full of your heart, because we both were raised listening to you sing, and you've affected us dearly. Yeah. So I love you.
Yeah. Well, and you know how I feel about you. I met you when I was 10. You called the church and asked if we wanted to come see a Shenandoah show, and Dad came home from work and he said, some guy named Raybon, some singing with some group down the street called Shenandoah, and all 5 kids went crazy. And Dad said, I guess we should go. And that was the beginning of what I call a long and beautiful friendship.
Yeah, and brother, it sure has been too.
Well, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to tune in. We look forward to sharing great music with you, faith, family, and friends. Download it wherever it's available. See the bright light shine. It's just a